Welcome to the Descenso Zone podcast, where we talk about creativity and personal growth through a lens of curiosity and humor. My guest today is the CEO and co-founder of ACE Co, a business empowering women and youth through leadership development, public speaking, and career exploration. She's also the host of the Full Steam Ahead podcast and leads scholarship and mentorship initiatives. We talk about building confidence, finding your passions, the power of networking, and much more. Now, let's get into the zone with Antoinette Ellis. Antoinette Ellis, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. So excited.
So you're a keynote speaker, co-founder, and CEO of ACE Company, which is all about empowering women to get involved in STEAM. And
Yes.
That is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
You got it.
So you've built a career around helping people find their passion. So my first question, Antoinette, is how did you discover that this was your passion?
That's such a good question. So my passion has always been helping. How can I help people? And this is actually my second business. So my first business, I was very passionate about events. So I had an event management business. And when I decided to pivot and try something different, I worked for a tech company, and it was about delivering STEM programs all across the US and so all across Canada and supporting the US. And that's where I realized that I wasn't working with too much women because there wasn't many females in that industry. And the girls that we were working with, they didn't seem too excited. It seemed like, okay, there's something to do. And my passion then was like, okay, I was talking to a colleague, I was like, I want to do something for girls and for women and to encourage them. And he's like, it sounds like you want to do a recruitment firm in STEM and STEAM. And I was like, yes, that's it. So that's how the passion started with that. And it's just been evolving by the more people that I speak to, the more people that I'm able to help. It just keeps growing and evolving.
It sounds like this idea of like empowering women
Yes.
to work in STEAM. And again, that's just so I remember, it's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So that's quite a
Yes.
broad range of different things.
Yes.
Why was that important to you? Like you're seeing these women not being very excited at the company you were working at. Why was it important to you to get women excited about those things?
So it's important to me because when you look at different industries, there's a lot of industries where it's male dominated and not enough women are pursuing in those careers. And working in the tech company and seeing that firsthand, I was like, no, there's something else we gotta do. There's something more that we gotta do to encourage. And that's when you probably hear a lot about the term STEM and STEAM, right? And so a lot of people, when they hear STEAM, they're like, you mean STEM? And I'm like, no, because all of a sudden when I realized when you add the arts to it, that broad range that you're talking about, you're opening up so many more doors. So a lot of people think of STEM is like technology and it's coding, and they're not interested in that. When technology is just a tool that we use regardless of what industry you're in. When you add the arts now, then you could be talking to a videographer, photographer, UX designer, astronaut. There's so much more. And then when you look around you, actually, STEAM is everything. It's everything. So when I'm working with women and young girls, you see their eyes light up like, oh, I didn't know. And my whole thing is, as long as we bring awareness, then people can make the decision of what they want to do or where they want to go. And it doesn't seem so intimidating when they see other women that are going into these fields that is supposedly male dominated.
Why do you think they are male dominated in those instances? Is there a like genetic proclivity to veer towards certain career paths, or is there a learned experience that young boys have that maybe young girls aren't getting? Like, why do you think
So,
that is?
Mike, you're talking like psychological, which is far, far over my head.
Okay.
But I could tell you from my experience, from what I've seen, also what I see in society. We're always gearing girls into like makeup. Like if you go into the stores and you're like, I'm gonna buy my daughter something for her birthday, everything has to be so frilly, makeup and frivolous and just surface level, right? you see where toys like Barbie are stepping up and she has many different career paths and whatnot. And then you look at it in school, where you see boys are interested in building and learning and whatever have you. I don't think it's a matter of girls are not building. I think it's more we're told, like you're told like, oh, this is what you're good at and this is what you're good at. You're told like this is what you should be drawn to. And oh yeah, he's drawn to that because he's good at that. But when you look at some statistics, it shows you that girls and boys are usually in the same interest until a certain age. And they're saying girls drop their interest in STEM and STEAM about 13, 14 years old. So if you could take a look at the statistics and see what it is, my thing is, why not bring awareness? I don't care about the genetic make or how, it's looked like this. It's also about the story that we tell our children as well, right? So I tell my daughter she could do anything what her brother could do. Her brother could do what she can do. It's finding that what that interest is in. My daughter's not interested in tech. She's not. And then and I've tried. I put her into coding and this and that, whatnot, but then that's okay. When you add the arts now, you know what she's interested in? Interior design. Interior design is STEAM. It has the technology, it has the engineering, it has the math, it has the arts. And so when you look at arts and people think, well, we did a robot and we painted it, that's STEAM. No, we're looking at all the different elements of art. So now we're looking at STEAM education. The elements of arts is dance, it's theater, it's visual and digital arts. So it's how do you marry those with STEM subjects and coming up with different career paths that involve both.
Yeah, I think that's a really noble pursuit, this idea of just giving options to people, this idea
Yes,
of
bringing
exploring
awareness.
different things and bringing awareness, as you say, to these different opportunities and career paths. Because I think it's one of the things that I think is so criminal is this idea of like having to make a decision at like 18 about what you're going to take in university that's going to affect the rest of your life. It's like
Yeah.
you're a baby, like you don't know anything about anything, and just getting that information out into the world, I think, will be helpful for a lot of people. One thing that occurs to me, though, is that your business sounds like it could be a not-for-profit business. It could be a charitable
Mm-hmm.
organization.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that it's not. And I guess my next question is, well, how do you generate income for your business?
Okay, so two parts. I want to go back to the last question too, that whole interest and awareness. One of the most amazing interviews I've ever had was with Dr. Merritt Moore. She's a professional quantum physicist and a professional ballerina. She does both. And when it was COVID and we couldn't have that human interaction, she coded a robot to dance with her. That's STEAM. That's amazing. And that's what we want to bring awareness to anyone that you can do both. You don't have to be like, well, I need to put away the art side and focus on what's going to generate money for me.
If you're enjoying this podcast, do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Another way you can support me is to check out my kids' book. It's called Tiffy and Spiffy Meet a Kangaroo. It's a really sweet story about two preschooler best friends. One is a girl, one is a genie, and they go on magical adventures. It's on Amazon, and there is a link in the description. Please go check it out. And now, let's get back into the zone.
So now let's talk about you're saying, well, how do I make money? Like if we're not a non-for-profit. So I had the decision to create a not-for-profit. What I realized quickly though is how there are so many not-for-profits that are doing such amazing work. And the work that I'm trying to do is also encourage women and girls to get into different career paths. So why would I have to be another non-for-profit? Why couldn't I be a successful for-profit that can show people that people like me can be a CEO and founder of an organization? So our work is a social enterprise. And when I say that, mean by that is part of our proceeds goes towards a scholarship that we have with Toronto Metro University for girls that are pursuing a career, an education in STEM and STEAM. How we get paid now is there's different avenues. So I work with other not-for-profits that will hire me to deliver programming on entrepreneurship, on STEAM and STEM, on arts integration and STEAM. I also get hired by the public service, so school boards to do the same. And what and how we also is our niche is university and college and young professionals. So I also work with corporations that do want to have professional development workshops for their employees and that they also want to support by providing workshops to the young professionals and to students. So there's different ways and different avenues that we generate income. And like I said, part of our, if anyone that works with us, part of that goes towards our scholarship. And we are on our fourth scholarship this year.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I want to dig into this idea of the workshops. So, are
Yeah.
you personally doing the workshops, and what kinds of things are you teaching in these workshops?
Okay. So it's myself and my director of education and partnerships that lead two workshops. Not two workshops. We lead many workshops, but we focus on different things. So when we first started out, I had nonprofits reaching out to me about, okay, well, we want more about what STEAM and STEAM careers are. So I've done the workshops on STEAM. We've done workshops on design thinking. What is design thinking and the life cycle of when you're trying to create a product. We've done workshops on avoiding burnout, especially for students and professionals. So what we try to do is um, meet the need. So instead of trying to fit a triangle into a square or vice versa, we see what the need is and see how we could meet those needs. So myself, I'm a certified arts integration specialist. So I work with those educators that are interested in how to integrate arts into STEM and make it STEAM. My director of partnerships and education, she's an educator with the Toronto District School Board. So she oversees all of our workshops for students and making sure that they're aligned to the curriculum and what's needed. Uh, what we're also seeing is a big increase in the ask of soft skills. Soft skills are so important. So even if you have that hard skills for STEM and STEAM, you still need those soft skills like communication, how to be a great leader, and so forth. So we do workshops and coaching on professional development and how to speak in confidence, how to learn how to lead. And so again, it's depending on what the need is, and then we're seeing how we could deliver. And
I
so
want
what
to,
we're also looking into, sorry, is that we do have other professionals that we might turn to that have a different expertise that we're not like an expert in. So what we are looking at too is having different professionals under the ACE Co brand that can lead different workshops that we're not an expert in.
so you're essentially amalgamating a sort of brain trust of different people and different skills that you can then teach different things. One of the things that's really interesting to me is this idea of teaching confidence.
Yes.
Do you think confidence is something you can teach? I feel like so many people think it's just an innate sort of trait, but I feel like it can be taught. Do you agree?
I totally agree. So that's like a sweet spot for me too. I find that your confidence comes from your life experience. The more authentic you are about what you've been through, what you've gone through, what you've studied, that gives you the confidence to be able to speak up. So when we are doing a workshop on building confidence, we're building on what you already have in you. So what are you suppressing? Why are you suppressing that? Why don't you feel confident to share that out loud? Or why do you don't feel confident to speak up in a meeting or a boardroom or whatever it may be? Because not everybody wants to be on a stage and be a keynote speaker. Some people just want to have that confidence to share their knowledge. We all have that ability to do that. We have to address what is the root problem that's stopping us. What's that barrier?
There's a saying in my industry of TV and film, probably translates across many industries, but I hear it all the time: fake it till you make it.
I hate that
And
term.
okay, let's get into that because the idea of like pretending you have it all figured out and then eventually you will sort of figure it out. That's the idea, right? But you hate
Mhm.
that term. Why do
I
you hate
don't
that?
like that term because where does your authentic self come in? When does that come? Does that come when you finally think that you've made it? So now you're like, now I could fully live this persona because I created this persona and I am this persona.
Did you ever feel like you were faking it though? Like maybe when you were starting your business, you weren't quite sure what to do. Like I think
Oh,
that's the
I
idea.
don't think it's faking it. I've like now we're talking like imposter syndrome. Of course, sometimes I still have that, but I'm not going to fake it. What I like to say is faith it until you make it. And it's not something I came up with, but have faith in yourself and believe in yourself that you can do it. Especially when I'm speaking to certain people, I don't want to pretend that I know something. If I don't know something, I'm going to be like, you know what? I don't know, but I know who can. Or I'll reach out to someone, or I'll get back to you. It's so much better than pretending that you know, and then somebody found out, like, she's a fraud. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Isn't that worse? I think that's worse.
I think that is worse too.
And if you want people to trust you, to work with you, then you have to be your authentic self.
I think something people are so afraid to say is, I don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's okay. I say, I don't know all the time. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast is because I don't know a lot of stuff. I want to talk to
Mm-hmm.
people and learn some stuff. So, yeah, confidence is, I agree with your take, this idea of like faith in yourself. I think having a belief in yourself, even if you don't know what you're doing, it's the faith that you can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an environment that you try to foster with your workshops that can increase confidence? Because I know a lot of kids, for example, in school are shy about putting their hand up to answer a question.
Mm-hmm.
Or in my field, if you're in a writing room for a TV show, there's usually someone in the room who's a little more quiet than everyone else because they're new or maybe they're a more junior person and they're afraid to say something dumb or silly or whatever. How do you build that confidence for someone?
You have to create a safe space. So, up from the beginning, addressing that this space is a space that we are going to help build each other. That we're in this room because some of us may feel a little intimidated or feel like they don't have the confidence, but we want to give a safe space to speak up, to bring out what you do know, to help build that confidence. And just yesterday, I was emceeing an event for 150 students, grades 6 to 12. And we had someone delivering a workshop on creating a pitch. And at first, the kids are like sitting there, we don't know. But as the event goes through and as you start creating that safe space by picking that person that looks like they have something to say, but they're not sure, giving them that freedom to speak out loud. By the end of the day, when they called for people to do their pitch, you should have seen these kids run up on stage. There was about maybe 10 or 15 that were ready to try and do a pitch. And they weren't worried about how they were going to sound because we created that safe space for them to learn. And my experience that gives me my confidence also comes from amazing people that I got to work with or that were able to mentor me. And I remember having an amazing boss when she hired me for that tech company. And she said, I hired you because you have the skill sets that I believe that you can do this. And even if you fail, it's okay. We're going to pick up the pieces together. So I want you to feel free to do what you do best and not worry about failing. When you have someone, again, creating that safe space for you to do that, you feel more confident to take the chance. You don't know what the outcome is going to be, but you have to be confident that you're going to be okay regardless of the outcome.
Fostering that experience of a safe space, I think actually ends up yielding better results because,
Yes.
like your boss example, you felt free to make mistakes. You felt free to take risks that ultimately probably propelled the business in a direction that was more positive than if you had just, cowered in the corner and not taken any risks. But I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people have a fear of, judgment or failure or rejection or getting fired. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
so many risks to speaking up. And it's great if you can foster a safe space for people to do that, but you aren't always in that position. You might be in a
Mm-hmm.
business that doesn't foster a safe space. How do you
Very
pull
true.
out that self-belief in not safe spaces to be confident?
It's a good question. You have to ask yourself, if I don't say anything, what is going to happen? If I do say something, what will happen? If you don't say anything and you decide to keep quiet the entire time, then how are you going to grow? How are you going to step out and learn from what you just did because you stepped up, that you spoke up, you said something? There's so many times where, that I've been in situations in my younger career where I was afraid to say anything. So I decided I'm not going to say anything at all. It's safer for me to be unseen. Well, guess what? Unseen people don't get to move up and grow and help build that confidence. So when I see opportunities were passing me by, I had to make a decision. If I stay silent, what will happen? If I speak up, what will happen? So if I spoke up, chances are somebody could see that I have some potential, or I have something that's worth listening to, or I have something that's willing to be sure that can be contribution to helping. Like, you know what I mean? So you got to really ask yourself in that space. And if you're in a safe that's not safe for you to speak up, change spaces. Change
Yeah, I
spaces.
mean that's an ideal world, but I've certainly felt to be in an unsafe space in a work environment. When I say unsafe space, I guess I sort of mean a space where I felt nervous about speaking up, or the boss was kind of yelling at people all the time, like those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I felt like unsafe, like physically or anything, but just this
Mm-hmm.
idea of being, worried about speaking up, or seeing my neighbor get yelled at a minute ago by the boss, but I had to stay in that job because that's what I was doing at that time. So I would love for everyone to be in a safe space, but that's just not the reality of life sometimes.
It's
So
not the reality. Don't mean to cut you. It's not the reality. But staying in a space that's toxic, what is that going to do to your health? What's going to do that to you? And I mean, don't quit and be like, I'm quitting right now, I'm out of here, but plan your exit strategy.
yeah.
Jobs are no longer there for you to be there 20, 25 years later. Like that doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
And as we grow, our likes change, everything changes. We have to be fluid. You got to be flexible and adapt to what's coming next, especially with the industries that's changing. So if I'm in a situation where I'm seeing my colleague is getting screamed at and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get fired. I need this job. I got to trust in myself that there is something better out there for me. There has to be, that I don't have to endure this pain. There has to be. And you have to believe in yourself to see, okay, it's time for me to start looking.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of self-awareness and
Mm-hmm.
having that self-confidence to be like, okay, this is not the right fit for me. Let's plan my escape from this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I wonder, like, can self-awareness be a foil to confidence? Because I feel like some people who are hyper self-aware are like more likely, and this is just purely anecdotal, I have no science to
Okay.
back this up, but it's like I sometimes, at least myself, because I feel like I'm a fairly self-aware person, and like
Yeah.
sometimes the self-awareness, you're in your own head so much that it actually reduces your confidence. Have you ever come across a student maybe, or someone in your businesses who experiences that, and
Oh,
how do
yeah.
you overcome that?
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to stop the negative talk because your self-awareness is not a positive self-awareness. So you're telling yourself, oh, I can't do that, or I could never do that, or I could would never be that person that could be do that. What you think about is what you're going to be about. So again, remember I was talking about finding that root problem. What is that barrier? Where that negative talk come from, right? Why are you talking yourself out of a situation that you don't even know what the outcome's going to be? So you already talked yourself out of even taking the chance. Like there are people that are going to agree with you, disagree with you, join you, not join you on your journey. That's just the way it is. But if you're in a situation where you have a negative boss that's screaming at people, and you're also telling yourself, "Oh, I can never be that person. I can never do that. I can," then you're telling yourself that this is where you're going to stay. Is this spot really where you want to stay?
Yeah, it's a good point, and not to be too contradictory, but I
Yeah,
think
that's fine.
some people would also be in a position where they're like, well, I'm making a lot of money here. And
Okay.
and then you're like, well, I'm going to endure this for the sake of my family or the income or whatever.
Well, this is the thing. This all boils down to what we value in. I'm
Hmm.
not motivated by money. I need money though. I need money. It's a tool. We all
Hmm.
need it to survive, but I'm not motivated by it.
What
So
motivates
for
you?
some, I'm passionate about helping people. I need to love what I'm doing. I need to be in the environment. And as an entrepreneur, I was just telling my husband this. I actually like everyone that I work with right now. And it's not always going to be the case. I agree. I agree to that. I know that. It's not always going to be the case. But I'm in a space where I can actually decide for myself if I'm going to continue on this route or I'm going to try and look for something else. Right. And even if, say you spoke up and you got fired or whatever the worst case scenario is, then you got to look to see, okay, what's the next thing that you're going to pursue? Say you're an awesome worker and there's people are going through this right now. They're doing everything they're supposed to do at their job. They've given their job all their best, and next thing you know, there's a big layoff and they got laid off. I've been a part of that as well. Then what are you going to do? You stayed in that role, they yelled at you, they screamed at you, but the pay was so good. The pay was so good for you to be stressed out. I'm at an age right now where I'm seeing so many people have high blood pressure at such a young age, or having so many different diseases at such a young age, where before it's like, oh, we're just gonna age old and that's it, you know, go to sleep and just not wake up. That doesn't happen. So you
Yeah,
really got to think if that job is really worth all that money. I get it. Your family is you're being taken care of. You got things to do, but is it really worth it? I don't know. It depends on you.
depends on your value system, I guess. And
Yeah.
and there's always been high stress jobs,
Yeah.
but now it certainly feels like a different culture. I think that
Mm-hmm.
there's like a culture around like this hustle culture and like having a job and then also having three side hustles and being an entrepreneur and also working at a 9 to 5 and doing, even myself, I find myself falling into this trap. I mean, I've started this podcast. It's not
Mm-hmm.
it's not monetized or making any money, and I genuinely love and enjoy doing it. I hope it one day can make some money because it's a lot of work,
Oh,
but
yes.
um, but that's in addition to all the other things that I'm doing. So I think there is a degree of nowadays this feeling of like, well, okay, one job isn't enough, or like a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
You need to hustle. You need to be selling things on Etsy, or you need to be doing this other thing. What do you make of that as someone who's promoting, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math? Do you think that people need to like stay in a lane, or can they explore these
No,
different
you
things?
can explore, but you don't have to like not sleep. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can explore many. I'm working on so many different projects at once, but they all give me joy. So maybe it's a person that's in a job that pays super well and they can't leave it right now, but they're so miserable. Then I always say try to find something that is going to give you joy on the side, or something that gives you that peace of mind so that you can keep working that job that you need to do. It all boils down to what we value and what we need for ourselves. What is it that's going to get you to where you need to get to? Some people love the hustle culture because I was like, yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, I need to sleep now. I do. So I need to put barriers because you will get burnt out. In my first business, I was so burnt out, so burnt out because I didn't have any barriers and I felt like I had to take every single job that came to me. In some cases, you might feel like that, but my first business, I operated out of desperation. This one, I'm operating out of inspiration. And every time I do an amazing event or I work with some people that said you really helped me, or I was able to, give a scholarship to a young lady that really needed it, like that motivates me. That I'm so, I wouldn't trade this for a world. I used to work making six figures in that corporate world. And when I look back, I'm like, no, it's not worth it. I don't know. No, my child, I have to take her to a doctor's appointment. I don't have to be like, oh, let me get on Slack or Teams and message my boss and see if it's okay, or if I could take this time as personal time off or whatever have you, right? I know And I'm not saying I'm never going to do that. Maybe I might have to go back into corporate one day, maybe. But right now, I enjoy having corporate as my client.
Yeah, having an entrepreneurial mindset around freedom has always
Mm-hmm.
been something really
Mm-hmm.
compelling to me. That idea that you don't have to go on Slack and message your boss every time you want a day off.
But there's different stresses, right?
Exactly. That's what I was just going to get to, is that it's a different kind of stress. So you sort of have to pick the struggle you want to have, because
Yes.
inevitably you're going to have some kind of struggle. So you have to sort of be okay with
Mm-hmm.
the path that you're going down. I want to circle back to some of these ideas around communication and
Yeah.
confidence. And I wonder if there's any like practical tools that you could share for our listeners and viewers, because communication is, as you say, a soft skill, but an underrated skill. I think it's so important to be able to communicate effectively.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
learning that through this podcast. How do you make someone listen to you?
That's a good question. So I would say how you make someone listen to you is all about how you start with your delivery when you're speaking to that person. Are you speaking to them like it's different too, right? If you're speaking at a stage in front of people, if you're speaking on a person on a one-on-one. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be vulnerable. I love speaking on a stage to people. I don't like networking in a room. I don't. I don't mind conversations on a one-on-one when I already know that the person's already engaged. However, you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to be, someone that can help you move to the next step. So how do you get someone to listen to you? You have to be really authentic in who you are and really come from um, that place of human first for me. So if I'm meeting you for the first time, what's your name? I'm showing interest in you as well as you will hopefully show interest in me. Then you get people to start listening to you. Oh, I'm so and so, whatever. Oh, we have a common thing in background, or oh, whatever have you. Or the person might be a snob and not interested. Okay, move on. On to the next. It's quite okay.
It's interesting to me that you are confident with the public speaking side of things and feel a little uncomfortable with the one-on-one, because
Yeah,
usually I would imagine it's typically the reverse, because public speaking, I think, is the number one fear in the world.
that people have. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
what is it about the more intimate sort of personal one-on-one
It really
networking that makes you
depends.
uncomfortable?
So don't get me wrong. The one-on-one I could definitely have, but it's when you have to go into a room, like say you went to an event by yourself, you don't know anyone at all, and then you gotta go and network. That's what I don't like. So the
Right.
one-on-one having a conversation, like you and I were introduced by a friend that I know. It was my first time jumping on a call with you, whatever have you. You wanted to know about me, I wanted to know about you. We were listening to each other. It was a good exchange, right? When you're going into an event, sometimes it's a corporate event. Sometimes people have their cliques and they're already with their friends of who they came with. It's kind of nerve wracking, but I have to get out of my comfort zone and like sometimes go up to that person like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is so and so." Or like you're sitting beside someone and we're like, "Oh yeah, that was really good what they said." And then you kind of start a conversation. I've been so grateful that I have taken the opportunity to step out and speak because man, just from one conversation from one person led to so many doors that were opened that if I didn't go to that event or if I didn't speak to that person, I wouldn't even know those doors existed. But you have to be confident in what you're saying and confident who you're speaking with, and they will listen to you.
It's like
Yes.
networking is to me more about learning about this other person,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of what you're saying, like if you learn about this other person, they're more inclined to want to learn about you. And
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's really about having that authentic connection, and you almost become friends more than colleagues at that point. But you're right, it does take courage, especially if you're in an event or a setting where you don't know anyone, you sort of came by yourself. It does take a lot of courage to break the ice
Mm-hmm.
in that first
Mm-hmm.
way. Do you have any
So even
tips
as
for
yeah,
that?
even
Like,
as a confidence coach, right? Like I'm telling you, yeah, it's still yes. So go ahead.
I guess my question is, how do you confidently break the ice when you're approaching a random person?
So this is one tip I have. Instead of trying to go to an event and finding out like how many leads I can get or how many people I can meet that could get me to so many places, think about it like how many people can I help? Who can I help today? Who can I actually help with what they're doing? I find when you do that reverse, then you're actually getting to know people and they're getting to also know you, right? Opposed to having this like I'm gonna make sure I get 10 leads and see where that goes to, because all these leads happen with building partnerships, building, some kind of trust foundation of, of who you are and whatnot. So I would say go into it as with a networking, how can you help someone else?
I guess it's just ties into confidence, right? This idea
Yes.
of being able to confidently approach someone, whether it's in a business setting or a personal setting. Confidence is such a nebulous thing. There are some environments in which I feel very confident. There are some
Yes.
environments which I feel less confident.
Me too.
And I'm trying to figure out how to provide value to the listeners in a way where I can say, okay, maybe there's like top three things you can do or practice, or how do you build that muscle of confidence is really what I want to get to the core of.
Okay, so some people it's affirmation, telling themselves positive things, but you got to believe the things that you're telling yourself too, right? Another thing was, so if we're talking about dating, so one of the things I did, I actually made a list, not a list of what I was looking for in a person, but more, what do I have to contribute? And then I was like, if I'm dating seriously, like for long term, what are some attributes that I'm looking for in that other person as well? And it also is in the different environments that you go into. Like it may not be the club. Maybe you go to the grocery store and you might bump into somebody. You never know. But just being a confident person in who you are, that takes practice. It takes believing in yourself. It takes a practice of you speaking out loud of who you are and what you do. I remember earlier in my career, one client said like you really don't know the value you have, do you? And I couldn't understand because I'm like, what are they seeing that I don't see? And they're like, oh my gosh, you are just so amazing of what you do. Like I could tell that you're not confident. And I was like, what are they seeing? Okay. So I had to do some like digging deep too in myself of what am I not showing or what I am portraying or what do am I doing well that I'm not doing that I could be doing better. And also understanding that I don't know everything. I am not like this know-it-all, but I'm also willing to work with people that have strengths in things that I don't have strengths in, right? So that goes even when you're looking for a partner or when you're, what is your purpose for dating? So you're looking for someone that compliments you or you compliment them or you have the same kind of interests, the same kind of belief systems, like all of that you're going to get to know by being confident in talking about who you are. So even before you're dating, you really have to start being comfortable with who you are, being comfortable with the type of person you are. If there's certain things that you think you need to work on those things. Same with, I could not be comfortable with networking if I wasn't confident in the type of business that I'm doing. Like if somebody asked me, what do I do? Am I shying away about what I do? Or I'm like, oh, I do X, Y, and Z, and I help people X, Y, and Z, right? Oh, hi, I'm Mike so and so, and I blah 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 blah. Whatever it is, but you have to be confident saying that. There's that elevator pitch, being able to have an elevator pitch if you have a business or even about like who you are, what you're doing, and all of that. So having that first three things that you want to make sure that somebody knows about you in a networking situation.
Yeah, just this idea of like building up that confidence and knowing who you are is
It
as
takes
part
time.
of that, right? Like
So
part
if
of
I'm an introvert, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I am confident because Antoinette told me to be confident. I am
right.
confident because Tony said for me to be confident. I believe in myself. I know I am. No, like it
Mhm.
takes work, right? It's your life experiences. Take a take an audit of what you've done and what you've accomplished to where you are right now. Take an audit of what those other things that you want to do or whatever have you. Be confident in the fact that you're on a journey and it could be changed at any moment and you're okay with that. That's being confident. That is
Yeah,
being confident.
I think so much of confidence is practice too, and it could be
Yes.
a practice of sort of knowing yourself, but it also can be a practice of literal practice of whatever the thing is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, when my friends got married, I was notoriously always the MC of the wedding, and they would make me, not all of them, I should say, a few of those holdouts, but no, a bunch of them were asked me to be the MC. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason that they asked me, I think, was because they knew that I had done stand up, that I had done acting, that I had been in these positions before where I had to perform in front of people in public speaking type situations, and that I was confident doing that. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I did a wedding, I was super nervous. I was super
Mm-hmm.
nervous. I was performing in front of, like, 100 of my friends and family essentially, and I was way more nervous than when I was doing stand up or acting or doing anything else. And that disappeared the second time that I did it. The third time I did it, it got easier. And then the fourth time I did it, I was like, okay, stop getting married, guys. but but yeah, so it's like this idea of confidence is built. It's not, you have to go brick by brick, at least in my experience, and build that
Mm-hmm.
up. You don't
Mm-hmm.
just have that. And I think a lot of people who seem to have had confidence from a young age, I think probably I would include myself in that category, was just because I had more reps at a young age. I was
Mm-hmm.
performing at a young age, and so that sort of confidence was built from there. And then it just looks like, oh, he's just a confident person. Although maybe some people don't think who knows? But there was definitely some value to having done that at an early age, and I think exposure therapy in a way to whatever the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that you're feeling unconfident about can be really helpful ultimately. Do you think that's the case too?
Oh, totally, totally, totally. But you know what? Every time I have to do a speaking gig, I still get nervous. Every time.
What
I was
what do you
nervous
do to
yesterday.
mitigate that?
Um, for me, I try to stay grounded, and for me, it's like prayer. So for some of the people, it might be something else. I remember my mentor for public speaking. Um, he was an awesome public speaker. And you always knew when he had an event. He was also my boss at the time because he would be in the hallway singing Frank Sinatra. And that's how he gets himself grounded and prepared. And he said to me, it's okay to be nervous because when you're nervous, you're paying attention to what you're going to be delivering. You're, trying to cross the T's and dot the I's, opposed to like if you don't care and you're just going out there, there's more chances of you just throwing it to the wind. Right? So he's like, it's okay to be confident. But you're right. It does take practice. It does take, some building. And once I get out there and once I got the mic in my hand, all of a sudden I just feel like, ooh, I'm okay again. But that's okay. Everybody's going to be different. And that's okay.
I resonate with that experience too, because every time I would pick up a mic to perform something or talk to a group of people, I would feel very nervous until, like, if I was performing stand up, for example, I would feel super nervous until I got the first laugh. And then once the first
Mhm.
laugh came, then I was good.
You're
Uh,
one of the bravest people I know because to do stand-up comedy, that is not easy. I would
well,
never do that.
I
No.
appreciate that. I mean, there's much better comedians than me. I only did it for a few years throughout university and stuff, but it was an experience that built up a muscle for me more
Yes.
than anything.
Yes.
It was a helpful education in public speaking. It was a helpful
Mm-hmm.
education in rejection. It was a helpful education in sort of learning to deal with my own feelings, because, like, if you
Mm-hmm.
bomb, if you don't do well at a stand-up comedy show, it, like, really affects you. At least me, it really affected me at those times. But then when you do really well, it's like the polar opposite. So it's like you have to be able to mitigate those feelings on both sides. Uh,
So let's flip the script here.
sure.
So you've bombed before and decided to pick up the mic again.
Uh-huh.
So what made you do that? Like every time that you did something and it didn't work out the way you wanted it to,
Yeah.
what made you keep going?
Stubbornness
Mm-hmm.
is a big piece of it. I've been told by many people in my life that I'm stubborn, but I think that's okay. I think you need some of that. I also think in the stand up in particular, the highs of doing
Mm-hmm.
well are so high
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
the low, you can sort of get past those lows to try and get back to that high again,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
why I think so many stand-ups say it's addicting, because it in a way is a kind of drug that you're experiencing this big endorphin rush. I mean, you're the center of attention. People are clapping or laughing or emoting at you or because of you. It's like
Mm-hmm.
very, and I'm sure you experience this too as a speaker. It's like it's a very powerful moment that can get addicting. And for me, I ended up realizing that my jokes were just scenes, and then I ended up writing, and it sort of took me down this other path. But um, yeah, getting past it for me, I think, was a combination of stubbornness, but also a belief that I could do it, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of a delusion, a little
Did
delulu.
you call it delusion?
Yeah, a little bit. I think you need to have a little delusion to think that you can do something that is the other 99% don't do. You know, I think you
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be realistic, and you should still have some grounded sense of realism, but you know, if you want to be the greatest guitarist of all time, you need to be a little deluded. You need to you need to have some crazy in you to think, yeah, I can actually be better than, you know, Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and all these incredible guitarists. You need to be a little crazy. You need to have
Mm-hmm.
some kind of deep rooted self-belief, and where that comes from, I'm not always sure, but yeah, I think you need some of that.
I could see that. I could see that because that's going to be the drive, right? That's going to be the drive for you to get out your comfort zone. That's going to be the drive for you to keep pushing forward. So I could see that. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have started this podcast if I didn't have some delusional belief that it could do well.
Hmm.
You know, I think if you don't believe in it, then why even do it? You know,
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
when it comes to the STEAM stuff, I just want to circle back to this. When it
Yes.
comes to all the STEAM stuff, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, I think I got that. Uh,
You did.
is there one that you emphasize more than others? Like, how do you find the right lane for a particular student or someone taking your workshops? Like, there's so many avenues to go. How can you zero in on what someone's interested in?
Okay, so for us, it's, identifying different pathways and seeing what the interest is. It's just bringing awareness. So we don't do, oh, you're interested in this particular thing. We're going to focus on that particular thing. It's more like, here's these different options. What are you gravitated more to? Okay, so here's some tools that to help you explore that even further, right? So if someone was, I'll use my daughter for example. She's interested in interior design, as I mentioned. So she does have a love of math, and she and her father just love HGTV and go watch it 24 hours, whatever have you. But then I took it a step further because my brother is in renovations. He does renovations and so forth. And he works with an amazing company that does interior design and whatnot. So I got her to meet with his boss a couple of times to talk about what does interior design entail, like what's in that. And that's what we tried to see. I was like, if there's something that you're interested in, okay, let's see if we can find a professional in that industry that can give you more information on exploring that. Um, I also do voiceovers. So I have students sometimes that ask me, like, well, how did you get involved in that or whatever have you? So we'll identify, like, these are the different processes or ways that you can get into that. If you're serious about it, maybe you could look into X, Y, and Z and how that gets to that. So for us, it's more general of an awareness. We'll give you the ideas and then we'll tell you how to further explore that. And then our niche is those that have already chosen the path. So say they're in university or college and they're doing the hard work. And sometimes it's very hard, right? It's like, okay, so now how do we motivate you to stay the course? Like, don't think about how hard it's going to be. Think about like why you got here in the first place. Like, why are you here in the first place? And where can it take you? Um, I also sit on many different boards for all kinds of different things too. So we're always looking at and having discussion of like what is it that the youth need today, like, and then what keeps coming up, they need those soft skills. So now we're talking to different organizations that are like, yeah, we're having an issue with our young people, we want them to be, getting ready to take on to, leadership roles or whatever have you. So we're identifying, okay, how can we make sure that we provide those skills, those trainings, and all of those things in order to do that. So it's not about one choosing one lane or other. It depends on who you're speaking to. If I'm speaking to a crowd of people, something might gravitate to some person, it might not. I tell them they're welcome to reach out to me separately and we could do a deeper dive, so
What
to
about
speak.
someone who doesn't know what they're interested in? There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people who just don't know yet, or even have explored a bunch of things and aren't really finding their thing. What
Mm-hmm.
advice would you give to someone in that position?
Keep exploring. Keep exploring. So you might not know the direction you want to go, but you have an idea of certain things that are you're gravitated to. You have an idea of certain things you do like and what you don't like. But keep exploring. And you'll be surprised. Sometimes we ourselves can't see it, but somebody else might be like, you know what? I noticed you're really good at so and so. Have you thought about exploring so and so? Listen to those conversations and see where it can go, right? Don't be afraid to explore. A lot of things if you look at my journey, it goes like this. I'm all over the place because I'm always looking at, okay, what am I interested in next? Like what I'm doing right now is what I'm doing right now. It's not who I am. It's just
Mm.
happened to be what I'm doing right now. So it's okay if people don't know exactly what they want to do as yet, explore. Don't be afraid to try. But if you're just going to sit there and say you don't know and not do any work to try to figure out what you want to do, then I don't know what to tell you. You're going to end up still sitting there. Life is going to happen to you.
That's good advice. Well, Antoinette, thank you so much for being here. I like to end the podcast by asking about a time you stepped outside your comfort zone and how that shaped your life. Does anything come to mind?
Yes, just recently, so 2020, when I was looking into STEAM, because I really love the arts, and I was trying to figure out, well, if I'm going to talk about STEAM, I need to know what I'm talking about. And I started Googling to see, like, is there any kind of education I can get? And I came across the Institute of Arts Integration in STEAM. And I was like, I'm going to sign up and become a certified specialist. Not even sure what that's going to be. And when I got there, it was virtual. Um, it was all these educators that have like 20 years of experience of teaching in the classroom or whatever have you. And I'm a corporate professional. I didn't have that background. So I was super, super uncomfortable because now we're talking about pedagogy and we're talking about cognitive demand and all these words that I was not comfortable with. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to push forward anyway. I was like, as a fish out of the water, I haven't felt like this in decades because I've always been the one leading or speaking to a crowd or whatever have you. But I was like, okay, I'm going to stick into this because I want to be able to understand and know what I'm talking about. So I stayed the course. And when I finished, they asked me to become an educator in residence and do some workshops with them. And then they came back and said, we want you to do level 2 so that you can coach educators. And I was like, what? This was supposed to be a one-time thing. I was like, I'm out. And I was like, no, okay, fine. Let's see where this can take me. And now I'm a part of the team. as a coach for other educators, and I've gotten to coach educators as far as Nigeria, and the British Islands. Not go there, but virtually, but just to saying like it could reach so many places. So if I didn't take the step outside of my comfort zone, I would not have known what was waiting for me on the other side. So
I love that.
thanks.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find more about you and your company?
Yes, aceandco.ca, Ace and Co Ltd on LinkedIn, Antoinette Tony Ellis on Instagram. We're everywhere. So we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, you name it. Just look up aceandco.ca.
Great. And I'll put some links in the description as well. Antoinette, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, Mike. I had a great time.